Hi, this is Real World Audio, and we are at part 3 of our mini series looking at the differences between ultra high efficiency drivers, loudspeakers, and medium low efficiency loudspeakers. What's the difference between them? What requirements do they task the amplifier with? And how are they mechanically and physically different from each other? What is the work they do that's different apart from the efficiency? So basically, at the first part, I have talked about the suspension of the drivers, and the key difference between low and high efficiency is the spider, whether it's hard or soft. So whether it allows fine movement of the cone, or it really breaks the cone movement and creates an extremely strong support. And however, that's not the only hand-braking effect on the driver cone. There's another effect which is created by the cabinet, the enclosure itself. So basically, the what happens in your loudspeaker cabinet, that when your cone is moving forward, then the cabinet is sucking vacuum. So basically, let's just draw it here. Simplistically, you have your cabinet here, and let's say you have your loudspeaker cone right there, and when the music signal starts, the cone is pushed forward, and as it's pushed forward, the inner size of the cabinet, the volume becomes bigger because this surface is going out, the cone is going out, so the interior expands, and however, the amount of air on the inside is the same. So basically, the air particles are becoming rarefied. You are stacking vacuum in the loudspeaker. And when the cone moves backwards and it moves back into behind the normal resting point, then it compresses the air, and the air becomes pressurized in the loudspeaker cabinet. And if you are familiar with shock absorbers in the car, they do the exact same thing. So basically, the shock absorber has a set volume, and there we have oil, because that's just much more denser, and it's capable to hold the weight of an entire vehicle. But there are shock absorbers that work with air as well. So if you ever played around with a syringe, if you put your finger at the tip of the syringe and you try to push the plunger in, then you will notice that you can push it a little bit, and then it becomes harder and harder and harder, and then you cannot push it anymore. And the same thing happens in the loudspeaker. When the cone starts to move at the very beginning, there is a so tiny difference in the pressure change, it's not doing much to the cone. But if you want higher cone excursion, then that pressure differential becomes very noticeable, and it starts to have an impact on the sound. Now, when we have a modern low efficiency loudspeaker that travels like 10 millimeters out or even more, you have massive cone excursions. It means that that cabinet is sucking major vacuum while the driver is working. And the situation is made much worse, because it's not only that we need to move, like, let's say, for the same SPI 10 millimeters instead of 1 millimeter, so we are creating a much bigger vacuum, but a low efficiency cabinet is only the fraction of the size of an ultra high efficiency cabinet. So for example, I am now making the example of my Mirage and my Voice of Lancelot loudspeakers. The Mirages are 89 dB efficient, the Lancelots are 102. The Mirage is free air volume, which is the lung size, the amount of air in the cabinet is 60 liters, and the Lancelots are about 240 liters. And the Mirages are more than 82 dB efficient, and the cones, probably to reach the same SPI, have to travel about 6 millimeter versus 1 millimeter of the Altec driver in the Lancelot. So it means that I need to travel 6 times longer for the Mirage, and the cabinet is 4 times smaller. So 4 times less air volume. So it means that whatever cone movement there is, whatever change there is, it's going to affect the vacuum 4 times more. So that 6 times 4, that's like 24 times harder vacuum is created when the cone is moving in the lower efficiency Mirage versus the ultra efficient voice of Lancelot. And that's just something monumental. And when we are going for an 82 dB per watt meter scenario, which we can observe for modern state-of-the-art high-end speakers and bookshelf speaker, this X24 can be X100 or even higher. So we are seeing just an enormous effect of the vacuum that's being pulled within the cabinet. And that acts basically as an extra addition to the handbraking of the spider, and it cushions the cone movement. So basically, a shock absorber is another name for it is a dampener. So it dampens the cone movement. So in other words, what is happening is that the more your cone has to travel out, the more the fine movements are blocked. So basically, for an a low efficiency driver, when you are pushing a high energy signal, let's say we are pushing like an 80-90 dB signal, and then we want to ride like 40-50 dB finer resonances at the same time, then that loudspeaker cone will be unable to create those 40-50 dB finer resonances, because the effect of the vacuum is creating a cushioning that absorbs that finer signal. So that's why I think when we are measuring the effect of how loudspeakers reproduce dynamics, that would be a nice experiment to 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 create a combination of two waves. Let's say to create an 80 dB 200 hertz wave, and or maybe a kilohertz wave, and a 50 dB 3 kilohertz wave together, and see that is it looking the same shape at that dB level, or when you drop it like 30 dB or 20 dB, or add a couple more dBs to it, does the relationship between the soft and the loud change? Because I do suspect that the effect of the vacuum does have a cushioning effect. I don't know how far this cushioning reaches, what are those soft signals that are being erased. It highly depends on the actual loudspeaker implementation, and also on the control ability of your amplifier. If it has hyper massive damping factor, and maybe for woofers it's a servo woofer, it might be able to partially counteract the effects of this vacuum that is slowing down the main cone and preventing it from creating those finer vibrations at lower dB values. So I think this might be one explanation what is happening, why I am experiencing that going for ultra high efficiency speakers, there is a massive increase in transparency, in the apparent speed of the drivers, in clarity, and why I can hear very soft sounds with ultra efficient loudspeakers, while with the normal efficiency loudspeakers, I am not getting those softness in the sound. I am not getting the feel of real life. So when we have a wider dynamic content in the music, it feels more alive. And when we do not have those low level details they are missing, it sounds more of a recording. It can sound like a very perfect, very nice recording, but it will lose that feeling of realness, of reality, that you are hearing the real thing happening. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we have yet to go over the crossover, what the crossover is doing for us. Uh, Before we do that, just one more addition, because you might be thinking, wait a second, these loudspeakers have ports in them. And because of the ports, there is no vacuum inside the loudspeaker, right? Because it's open to your room, so there cannot be vacuum. You are both right and you are wrong, because the functionality of the ports is to create an acoustic coupling at the frequency where the port is tuned to. And you get a 1 octave window around that tuning. So basically, if you have a port that's tuned to 40 Hertz, then you have a window of opportunity somewhere between 30 Hertz and 70 Hertz where the port behaves as if the inside of the speaker is freely accessible to the outside room. If you are looking at 300 Hertz, let's say, or you are looking at 10 Hertz, your driver cone will feel that when it's trying to move at those frequencies, as if there was no port here. The cabinet is closed. The window of opportunity is focused, is centered around the tuning frequency of the port. And that's why the port does such a big work, such a big difference for the bass, because it opens up a window. And basically those frequencies where the port is tuned to, that octave, that's not going to mess up your cone movement. There, it's not going to cause a back pressure to the cone, because those frequencies are going to, those frequency pressure waves are going to able to exit the cabinet and not stay there as a vacuum or as a supercharged pressure to mess with your cone. However, you are out of luck if the frequencies involved are far away from the port tuning frequency. So that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. Please like, subscribe, share your comments. Bye bye.